let's see, April the 7th, 2020. Just thought I would do a little check-in on my way into the hospital today. I'm doing a few hours over there in the triage center, call center area, where we're sort of directing traffic on stuff, and that's going really well. My hospital's asked that we don't talk about the virus or COVID-19 on social media because we are representatives. I work for the state, and so I'm not going to really go too much into that. Just suffice it to say, I'm praying for everybody out there, our entire world, our nation, the state that I live in, the people I love and care about. I can sort of talk personally about a couple of things. Number one, Judah is still working in the grocery store, and so he has been taking some online classes, or trying to take some online classes to finish up his degree. And you know, he's supposed to be getting married in June, so he's working in the grocery store. Oh, I hate this thing when it does that. I have one of those cars that when you stop, it like turns off. I don't know, it's weird. Unless you hit the button. He is considered essential, and he is actually really determined to work and continue on with that, even though as a mother and a nurse, I have a lot of anxiety about that. They are taking good care of him at the grocery store. The chain that he works for, they're actually doing more than a lot of the chains. He has plastic, basically he works in like a plastic box. There's plastic in back and front on either side. He has a small hole that he like pushes the receipt through. He's wearing a mask, he's wearing gloves. And he also does a lot of shifts where he's just outside, pushing carts and wiping down carts and all that. So, and he's getting hazard pay, which I think it's amazing that he's getting hazard pay, but our, you know, our frontliners, like our respiratory therapists and our PCTs and things like that, as far as I've heard, are not getting any sort of hazard pay. So that would be probably my only comment on that, is that we should really rethink how we're paying our frontline healthcare professionals, especially those who are directly taking care of COVID-19 patients and risking their lives. But, you know, anyway, I worry about him. Now, Asher is, so basically what they've done at his school is he was living in an apartment. It's on-campus housing, but it's an apartment he paid rent for, with 3 other roommates, and they all elected to move back home because they live pretty far away. We live in the same town where he goes to school, and he had already paid his rent. So they gave him an option of moving into a 1-bedroom apartment to finish out the year. And that way he has his own space to study and stuff, because he's still trying to finish his classes. And we told him he could move home. We have, you guys have seen his room, and we have an attic space where we can put, like we have a finished attic that he could do like a whole study area and whatever. But he really wanted to stay home until June. I mean, stay at his home until June. But they moved everybody out of the apartments that he was in, the whole apartment complex he was in, to turn those into hospital, like flex hospital rooms, which I thought was pretty cool that we're doing that here. And our hospital systems have really banded together and are doing amazing things to make room and be prepared for everything. So he's there, he's completely by himself. He's quarantined himself. He's, you know, the only time we see him is we have some limited church services. So that's the other big thing. It is really bright out today, and I'm very thankful for the sun, but it is like right in my eyes, and I don't have my sunglasses. But okay, so let me tell you about church. You guys know that my husband is an Eastern Orthodox priest, and we are in Lent. We are in the time of year, which is one of the reasons I haven't been here on YouTube that much, is because it's Lent and I've tried to back off and, you know, whatever. So, our bishop has suspended, obviously, services, except for my husband can stream some things in a limited capacity. And so he can stream some things from church, but it has to be him and like 2 or 3 other people, because he can't do it by himself. There's no way for him to do the liturgical things that he needs to do by himself. And so he has Asher, who we know is 100% not out and about. And then we have the choir director and his wife, who are also, you know, 100% at home quarantine. So they can do some streaming services for our church congregation, so that the congregation still feels like they can have that spiritual aspect. And so my husband's really like dialed it back to just maybe one service. I mean, we haven't even had anything in the last couple of weeks except for him doing stuff by himself, where he doesn't actually do a liturgical service. He just does some chanting and prayer and stuff, which is not actually, it's hard to explain. But we are coming up on Holy Week. So the Eastern calendar is different from the Western calendar. We have a different Palm Sunday and a different Easter than the Western calendar. And he wanted to do some services. He wanted to do a service for Palm Sunday with the right music, which, you know, the choir director and his wife can chant the song, sing the songs and chant the songs, and then he and Asher can be up in the altar doing all the liturgical stuff. So he really wanted to be able to do that and got a blessing to do that. And then he wanted to do Holy Friday, and then Easter Sunday is what we'll call it. We call it Pascha. He wanted to do a service for that as well, for people, because we've all been fasting, we've been on this Lenten journey, and it's weird to not have that as Eastern Orthodox Christians. And so the bishop sent out a really good directive that any priest that is in contact with anyone that works in healthcare or with any COVID-19 patients or anything cannot do those really limited services. He cannot be around anyone else. He can't function as a priest. So my husband, because I work in the hospital and we have COVID-19 floors and all of that, even though I'm not working directly with the patients, I'm in that hospital. He was going to have to suspend basically his job. So I work with the most incredible healthcare system. I sent my boss the directive, and I'm like, hey, you know, I'm already over caseload, so I can work from home. I said, is there any way that we could maybe ask that for the time being, so that my husband can do these church, so he can work, basically, do these church services? Is there a way for me to be 100% at home right now? And they were so gracious. She sent it up the chain of command, and everybody looked at it, and they, of course, do not want there to be any chance of my husband passing something that I brought home, you know, passing that to really just the choir director and his wife and, you know, their family or whoever. I mean, we don't want to spread this at all. We want to put the kibosh. And I work in the School of Community Health, and I work with, you know, epidemiology and all those people. So they said, yes, I can be 100% at home after today. So that's wonderful. And then my husband was given a blessing that because I will not be in the hospital, he can do those very limited, you know, 4-person streaming services for Holy Week and for Easter. So I feel very blessed. I also, it's just, everything's difficult right now, just mentally difficult, because I want to be doing my part, and of course my boss is like, well, you're already over I'm already in overtime. I'm already over caseload, but it still feels weird because my coworkers are still going in, but none of them, I have 28 and they have like 15 or, you know, so I don't know. It's just weird. The whole thing is weird, you guys. But I did want to share that with you guys that there's a lot of grace. I just see a lot of people showing each other grace and kindness, and that was really nice of my employers to do that so that my husband can continue working. I mean, that says a lot. That really says a lot to me. So I think they've, you know, bought my loyalty for life. I just feel like, wow, I'm just so blessed to work for them. Other than that, work is going great. You know, it's a challenge doing things from home, but this is a very needed time for my patients, and it's really good to be able to connect them with, like, we have a lot of resources in the area for people that are losing their jobs and housing and food and healthcare. I mean, you know, the list goes on. So it's great to be able to work with those patients and their babies and their families and stuff. That's a real blessing. Because a lot of times, I mean, when you're sitting at home and you're going through all that, I mean, who do you have? I almost feel like everybody needs a nurse right now that can call them once a week and say, hey, what's going on? How can we help? How can we organize? What information do you need? What education do you need? You know, how are you feeling? Like mental health, we have all these mental health resources. I just think it's, you know, if only, if only everybody could have that kind of support, right? So my job's going well. I am going on 1 to 2 walks a day. I've gotten my steps back up to 10,000 a day. I'm going through just sort of some different things with the program. I am not personally, and you know, I know everyone has their opinion on this, I don't like the online meetings. The whole reason I go to meetings is to go to the meeting and step on the scale there. I don't want to weigh at home. I want to go weigh at the meeting. It's something mental. You guys knew I was mental. Well, there you go. So I've been thinking through that. I don't know that I'm going to share a lot of what I'm thinking at the moment. I am doing some trial and error stuff right now. I've been having a lot of fun going through the old Weight Watcher magazines that I bought, and I showed you guys that I got off of eBay. Man, I'm just having a blast. I have time to read through them right now, and so that has been really, really fun in the evenings while my husband's watching disaster movies, is doing that. And then I've been playing with Tupperware. You guys know that. Tupperware and Weight Watchers are my little hobbies right now. And then I also, I got a new planner, so I've been decorating my planner again, and I've been reading. I'm reading a couple of books. So I'm trying to focus on my own microcosm. I cannot do the 24/7 news. I can't, I mean, oh my gosh, I turn the news on and I just weep, and I just, you know, I just can't go there every day for my own mental health. And I would encourage you all, we talk about this a lot right now with our patients, to take breaks from that, because as human beings, we are not built to see constant suffering like that. That's not what our reality was. You think 100 years ago, or, you know, the Spanish influenza didn't have 24/7 media coverage, and you knew that people were suffering, but you were not in that place of sympathy and empathy 24/7. It really do a number on your mental health. So take a break from the news. One of my patients, I called her the other day, and she goes, before you say anything, I already know you're going to tell me to turn the news off. And I'm like, turn the news off. So we've got to take some breaks from that, you guys. You've got to shrink it down to you and your family. And, you know, what does your life look like today? You have your life. Hopefully you're in good health. Hopefully your family is in good health. And you can focus on that and the things to do to maintain that. And then, what are some things that you can do to increase the serotonin and dopamine in your brain besides eat cupcakes? Right? So walking, getting some sunshine, some vitamin D, calling people, having a new hobby. That's what I've been doing. I've got a whole new hobby. I've been playing with Tupperware and making new friends, and cooking more. Oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun cooking. I've got new things to cook with, and I've got recipes that I'm going through, and I'm looking through all kinds of the old websites and things that I used to, like Dottie's Weight Loss Zone, and revisiting some of the, you know, old recipes I used to make, and that's been really, really fun to get back into like a little bit more meal prepping and stuff. And I don't know, I'm just trying to be in a good place. I'm trying. Every morning I wake up and it's like, I wake up and I'm like, happy Amy, and then I remember what's going on. And then I cross myself and I say, Lord have mercy, and I surrender this to Him. And I don't get on the news first thing. I do my morning routine and, you know, get settled. And then I usually have to check my email, and that's where we get, you know, updates on what's going on, because I work in public health, community health, and all of that. So I, you know, Monday through Friday I have an update. On the weekends I don't look at the news because I can't. What can I do about it, you guys? What can you do about it? What we can do is stay home, hygiene, pray, wear a mask when you're out now. The CDC is saying, you know, pray for our healthcare workers, and not just doctors and nurses. I think about respiratory therapists and PCTs and EMS and firefighters and, you know, the police. Oh my gosh, Lord have mercy. I just pray for all of those people, because I know that God has all of them in the palm of His hand, and I can't dictate as to what I think should happen, because I don't know at this point. I'm just praying that there is healing. So I love you guys. Thanks for listening. If you've listened this far, hey, you must be one of my long-term peoples. You must be one of my buddies. So I do appreciate you guys as friends, and thanks to those of you guys that hang out with me over on Instagram and over on Facebook. I'm over on Facebook like daily right now. N is for nurse. RN is my name over on Facebook if you want to friend me. I'm doing all kinds of vlogging and cooking and chatting and parties and having fun over there, and just trying to keep it light over there. I vlogged some food days and I have not put them up because I just feel very, I don't feel very confident at the moment in what's happening. And that's okay. That's just where I'm at with Lent, and with just feeling like kind of out of my element with no meetings and all that. I just feel kind of like, ugh. But I'm doing well. I've been hanging out around the 245 range, and I'm excited to get back to actual meetings here at some point, praying that that happens sooner rather than later. Oh, in terms of Judah's wedding, we have a plan B. They're still going to get married, even if it's just the two of them and the pastor. They want to go ahead and get married. They have, everything all set up to do that. And then they can do the big, celebration later or whatever. So, they're still on for June 20th. It just might not look like what we thought it was going to look like. She has her dress, and, I'm hoping that if we have to make it a smaller event, that at least we have the 10 or less mandate, where we can have 10 or less people, and then it can at least be the two of them, and then the parents and the brother and the sister, you know, and the pastor. I'm hoping that that's what we can do. But God knows, again, just one more thing to give to God and say, Lord, have mercy, and God knows, and thy will be done, you know? All right, guys, I hope to talk to you all later. Last time I was here, my car broke down, so I'm hoping, and they're doing construction out here. I'm really confused. What's happening? Got to park way out. So I will see you guys hopefully later, and let me know how you're doing. I know a lot of you are going through a lot. There's a lot of people I'm praying for right now. Gosh, my prayer list is like 4 pages long right now. So let me know how you're doing. I'd love to hear about it, and I appreciate you all. Stay in orbit. Let's keep going. Let's keep taking care of ourselves, whatever that looks like for the moment. And I'll check back in later. Bye.